Um, Andrew asked me to do a demo tonight if I would do one, and I said yes. And then I had to try and figure out what I wanted to do. And I got the word that he uses. I am not familiar with that word. To me, it sounds like a sandwich shop. But I gather it's kind of knickknacks and things. What I wanted to show is not really knickknacks. They're actually functional items. There's stuff that I like to do, and I thought I would share it. We're getting near the end of summer, and people who participate in craft shows are usually getting ready for them because they're usually in the fall before Christmas. And a lot of these things are stuff that I'm going to show you that I've made for craft shows that usually sell, don't necessarily sell out, because craft shows are kind of temperamental. Sometimes I'll sell everything, and the next show I won't sell any of it. But I thought I'd show you some of the stuff that I have had some luck with at different times that I enjoy making. Also, they make good Christmas gifts. So they're just little things. I'm going to go through them and show them and talk to you about if I have found problems with them, and if you guys have made them and have issues with any of them, please let me know. And it can be kind of a brainstorming too. I know a lot of these things, they're little, you know, and people go, that's just boring stuff. But it doesn't have to be. So I like to take this stuff and see what I can do to it to make it. Anyway, I like to try to figure out what I can do with them to make them just a little bit different so they don't all look the same like the picture and like everybody expects. So I have fun with shapes. You can kind of tell this is kind of a typical pull, light pull. And then I got playing with the beading tool and made something like that. So anyway, it's just, I try to make it fun. And they're not very expensive, most of them. So I wanted to talk about the different ones, and I actually have notes. So the first one I talked about is real quick. It's just a little wire key ring. And you guys made these? No? They're not hard to make. You need to have something like this, because when you make it, you take your wood, which looks something like these. You have two-sided tape, and basically you're going to stick the tape on there, and you're going to turn it and finish one side, and then you turn it over, and you turn it over and you stick it to the other side. So that's pretty much how this works. When you get it turned, you put a groove in the end. You can see where the ring goes in there. So that you have to put that groove in there. And this one has a CA finish. And to do a CA finish, I had to finish one side and when it was on the tape, then take it off, turn it around, finish the shaping on it, and then finish the other side. If you finish it when it comes off, which is what the instructions tell you to do, you don't have to worry about that. But this thing, Jim actually made it for something else, and it works really well. He put the threads in it so you can just screw it on the headstock. And it works for the key ring. It works for the money clip. And I had some little boxes that I don't think they even make anymore, but it worked for that too. So I just want to show you that. And these cost a little over $1. I think they're three something for a pack of 3 of these rings. These rings don't come with it. I bought that separate. But the way it works, you put the ring on it. And this one's really tight. The trick to these is you got to get that groove in there the right depth. Because if you get it too deep and the ring is too loose, it'll spin around and it'll fall off like that. Because you turn it around so you have the opening here, and you can put it on here and then turn it back around. And if you get the thing too big, then it's on there so tight it won't move. So there is a little bit, I did have a little bit of a learning curve on that, trying to get the size just right. This was no problem, it's just a little disc. That was all the things that I thought would be. Oh, yeah, when you're making it, if you want to see if you got the groove the right size, I forgot one step. You have to cut this little notch in here. It tells you in the instructions how to do it. You can make a sandpaper cylinder that you put on your lathe with different sizes of sandpaper grit, and you can kind of go down it. I did mine on the oscillating sander, and my son-in-law does his with the Forstner bit. But that's how you can put your keyring on there. But before you cut that, if you want to see if you've got the notch the right depth, and there's no cutaway here, and you put the ring on there, you might want to put a little string or something in there, because once you get it on when there's no notch, it's a devil of a job to get it off again. So I've been told, not that I know right. Other one that's easy and quick to do are little Christmas ornaments. And we had a demo from James Carter last time. There was a really fancy ornament. These are not. These are just little kits, metal top and bottom. These ones came from Woodcraft. I think they're way overpriced. I wait and I get them when they're half price. They sell them, some kind of little ornaments also are at Exotic Blanks that are a little bit less expensive, but I've never seen them, so I don't know how they compare. All these are a little bit of a 7mm tube, and that comes with it. You can make it any length tube you want. It's 7mm, use the 7mm bushings, and just make whatever shape you want. They come, only ones I brought were the little beaded ones. There's one that has a straight tip like that, and then one that has just a little ball at the end. And there's no gotchas on these that I've ever found. They're just straightforward. And actually, I've sold them for $15 for one of those, either at $12 or $15. So people do like them. They're good for little Christmas trees. I don't sell them. I don't try to talk people into buying them for a big Christmas tree, because they get lost. If you got a 6-foot, 8-foot tree and you put those on, it's lost. The other thing is, except for that tube, they're solid wood or acrylic, whatever you make it out of. So for their size, they're kind of heavy. If you put them on the ends of a branch or on a really small real tree, they're a little bit too heavy. But if you've got a tree in your office or in an apartment on a table or something, where it's an artificial tree and the branches are stiff, it's perfect for that. They work really good there. Another popular item that I sell on Etsy and also at the craft shows is seam rippers. I have a couple different kinds. This one is a necklace. That's just a single one, obviously. And then you can get the ones that have two ends on them, a little one and a big one. In the sewing tools area, you can get the seam rippers, you can get needle threaders, and you can get stilettos. And I thought I had brought a stiletto, and I didn't. But it's just what it sounds like, a stiletto. It's a sharp point. My daughter uses them in quilting, so I've made her a couple of them, I guess. And the other thing they have is a needle threader. And I don't know if you can see it, because it's really, really tiny. It's a little thin wire, and it doesn't really show up, does it? I don't know if I can. There, you can kind of see the light on it a little bit. Anyway, you can get the seam ripper, the needle threader, or the stilettos. And the cool thing about them is, if you get them all from the same company, these are from Penn State, you can interchange them. Yes, sir?
If you order the seam rippers and like the scissors, like that, check the bushings that it changed. So I have a set of bushings, seam rippers in the past. They do not work on new kits.
Yeah, these seam rippers that I have, the seam rippers, the stilettos, and the needle threaders are all the same bushings. But the next thing on my list, let's had something, if I had anything. The seam rippers are more expensive than they used to be. The necklaces are about $10.95 or $12.95, depending if you get the chrome or the gold. Single one is $7.95. This one was a double. It had one on either end. You can get it that just has a one on one end and then a cap on the other. Those are about $7.95. Double one is $9.95. And I think the stiletto and the threaders are about the same, $9.95. When you put these together, there's two different styles. This one that came from Penn State has a little metal ring clip spring that goes in there, and it holds it in. The ones that you get from Woodcraft, and I don't remember who makes those, they have a little O-ring on them, like the scissors do. So I don't know that you can interchange those, probably not. So if you want to do that, if you want to mix and match, just make sure you've got the same ones. Yes, sir.
I have made both, and of the two, the Penn State one is a little better simply because if you lose or break that O-ring, there are no replacements available, at least not from Penn State or from, not from Woodcraft or whoever sells them. The O-rings, if they break, and they can, they're not easily replaced.
Okay. Yeah. These ones have this little thing in them. The little clip looks like that. And you roll it into a roll, and then you have to shove it into the end of the tube. And trying to hold it together and shove it into the end of the tube, and this, you shove this end in first, and hold it and get it in there is kind of hard. So I feel like a total klutz when I do it. But eventually, when you get it in there, it works real well. Thank you. Okay. Let me put something behind it too. There. Can you see that? Okay. And the front part is pretty soft. I guess that's how you make the spring. You shove it in there and it kind of bends up like that. So you've got these little holes, so if you shove it in and it doesn't go in quite right, if you've got like a dentist pick or something that has curved end, you can stick it in there and catch it in one of those little holes and either pull it down or push it up or yank the whole thing out and start over. I've done that before many times. And if you put them in upside down, it doesn't hold. If you put it upside down, it held. I did that actually on the crochet set. And I put it in the handle upside down, and it would stay in one way, but when I turned it around, it wouldn't stay in the other way. And I couldn't figure out why for the longest time. And I was at a craft show, and some lady had the same set that she was trying to sell, and I was telling her about it, and she says, I don't know what that is, why it would do that. But then we got talking about it, aha, it's worth a try. So I went home and turned it around, and sure enough, that fixed it. So I don't know that the problem happens with these, but if it does, when you make it and it doesn't stick, see if you just need to turn your spring around. The mini scissors are something new I had not seen before. The jury's still out with me as to whether I'm going to like them or not. This is one I made, and oh, you can see it there. I just kind of beaded it a little bit. And it's got a CA finish, so make it nice and shiny and smooth there. Okay. And this one does come with a little O-ring, and that's the only way it comes as far as I know. And it's hard to get it in and out. This particular pair of scissors, oh, it's going to work this time. They're really stiff, some of them, and they don't open and close well. But this is what they are. The difference, you can't interchange these with the others because these ones use a 10 millimeter tube and the others use an 8 millimeter tube. So there is a new combo one. I have not seen it in person. I saw it in the catalog. That's a combination of the two. Yeah. I would think it would be awfully big and clunky because this is one scissors. This is one seam ripper. It seems like that would be pretty big. But I don't know. Like I said, I've never seen it. Oh. Which one? Both of them? Okay. This is the scissors. This is a double-headed seam ripper. And if I wanted to, I could change out one of these ends with a stiletto or with a needle threader, whatever. There. Whoops. I can't get it straight. It's going the opposite from what I think it should go. There we go. Okay. Oh, one thing I did want to mention on the seam rippers, they're 8 millimeter tubes, but I have had trouble with them on more than one occasion where if I drilled it with an 8 millimeter drill bit, the tube won't go in the hole. Why, I don't know. I don't have trouble with them with anything else except seam rippers. Yes?
If you read the instructions, the PSI, they'll tell you use this one bit for the wood, and there's another bit for the plastic.
Yeah, well, I don't know which one I've got. However, I discovered I can avoid the issue pretty much completely if I use a letter O bit instead, because it's an 8.02 millimeter bit, and then I don't have any trouble. So I had several times when I either couldn't get it in at all, or I got it halfway in and it stuck, and I was stuck. But the O bit seems to work fine. So that's what I've been using. Something new that a new thing that I tried was the fan pulls. I had not made those before, and those are kind of fun. I mean, they're just simple. But if you like doing shapes, doing little spindle shape things, you can have a lot of fun with those. The only real trick to those isn't in making them, it's in putting them together afterwards, because you have this chain that comes attached in here, so you can't press it together. You need to press those pieces in. You can't press it on the chain. So they come with two sets of instructions. One is you can either cut the chain and take the little end off here. You take the end off, and then you cut the chain so that what's left will fit totally inside there. You put the little end on and then tip it over and pull it out, put the little end back on. But what I did, so I didn't have to cut it, you get a bushing, an old 7mm bushing that you're not real fond of anymore, and you kind of cut like a little mouse hole in one side. So then when you do it this way, you put your chain like that, you put your bushing over, the chain goes through the little mouse hole, and you can push it together. Anybody made those? Anybody here make those? Yes? I thought they were fun because I got to play with the shapes. It's just something that has the hole in the middle and then the mouse hole that the chain can go through. Yeah. Those are not particularly expensive to buy. They're about $2.95 each. You can get them in 24 karat gold or shiny chrome from Exotic Blanks. And, I was always told the rule of thumb for pricing something was to 3 times your cost. There's a lot of things I make that I'd never get 3 times the cost from it where I sell stuff. But these you could. I mean, when it costs $3, you can get $10 for it, probably pretty easy. So that's kind of a cool thing. I have not tried those at a craft show yet, but I'm kind of anxious to do it. My son-in-law has sold some there. And this was fun. I love magnifying glasses. I think most kids love magnifying glasses, and kids that don't grow up all the way, we all love magnifying glasses. So it comes in either gold or chrome. Again, it's really easy to make. The handle is just a longer tube. You have to be careful drilling it because I'm not real good at drilling stuff and they go crooked. So I had to be really, really slow and careful on this to get it halfway straight. But it's fun to make. The only real thing to watch for on that one. When you get them, all 3 of them, I've only had 3 of them, all 3 of them came put together like this. And they have a little nub that goes at the far end. But on here, this part unscrews. And the one that I got, it was on there so tight I couldn't get it loose. And I was wondering, how the heck do you put this together? Because I didn't think you press on the, not good results if you try to press on the magnifying glass. Pair of pliers and some cushion for the thing, and I fixed it. But this comes off and falls on the floor. Anyway, this, according to the instructions, you may at some time find them where the glass is not in here. And this is a split. Put overhead. Okay, you can see it's split right here. The screw is actually split in half. And it's got this little metal cap that holds the ring in place. So when you screw this on, it's going to hold the whole thing together. So when you're working with it, when you put it back together, you have to hold the metal in tight so those 2 pieces are together good, and screw it back on. It warns you that if you cross thread it, you'll ruin it. And it feels like it would be easy to do. So that's the only thing I saw that really made me pay more attention to that. The gold one actually was from Woodcraft. I bought it several years ago. The other 2 came from Exotic Blanks.
Expensive?
Yeah. I guess depending on what you consider. The Woodcraft one now, I looked it up in the catalog, the Woodcraft one now, I even made a note, is $20.99 for one. However, if you go to Exotic Blanks, they're $10.95 a piece. And as far as I can tell, they're the same item. So yeah, Penn State is $12.95, Exotic Blank was $10.95, and Woodcraft was $20.99. So they look like the same thing to me. They may be, I don't even think it's any bigger. So those are, but one of those sites gives you the range of what people sell them for, and kind of the average range. And the range for that, I didn't write it down, I guess, but it was like $37, $38 for the middle range. So again, it's roughly 3 times, I guess. It depended on what they made the handle out of and whether it was gold or chrome, but the prices are the same for the gold and the chrome, I think. Yeah. Okay, I've never made a letter opener, so.
Same, it's basically the same thing. It's press the screw in to the end, and because there's several kits that go with specific pins, but I like to give them with a magnifying glass more than with a pen.
Okay. Yeah, I like magnifying glasses. This one I made the little bumps on it because I know kids love them, and that way little fingers can hold onto it without dropping it. The last one I had is something that has no kit at all. It's just something I made because of an inquiry I got over Etsy one time wanting to know if I made hair sticks. So I obviously don't use hair sticks. I talked to some people to find out exactly what they were, and then I tried to figure out how to make some myself. So these are some I make, and I make them out of mostly leftover wood because Jim does segmenting, and he winds up with these sticks left that are left over that and not enough left to do with his segmenting, or they're too short to get his fingers too close to the saw. So I turn them into little hair sticks, and these usually sell really well. It surprised the heck out of me. I would put them on Etsy, and before I had the next 3 made to add to it, they'd be gone. That was at early COVID, so I don't know whether they're still selling that well or not because I haven't made any in a long time. But this one is Paduke. The nice red, it shines up. I like CA finishes, so most of my stuff has CA finishes. That little gold thing right there is a little gold metal, what do you call it? I don't know. It's the little ring that goes on the ends of dreadlocks. So, yeah, I got kind of a funny look when I went into the store to buy these. I didn't go into the store to buy these. I went in with my daughter to this Sally or something because she wanted something for her hair, and I was looking around and I found this little bottle of these things, and I thought, you know, that might work good on a hair stick as a decoration. So they are the little gold rings that go on the end of dreadlocks. Black people wear a lot, and I picked up these rings. I thought, well, this is cool. I'm gonna try these. It's not a solid, well, it's split. It's got a split. You just open it a little bit, put it on, squeeze it back together, put CA around it and hold it, and it stays there. I went to check them out, and the young lady at the checkout stand looks at those, and she looks at me, and she says, "Black people usually buy these." And I said, "I'm sure they do. You want it?" "Yes." So it does work good on hair sticks. I'm going to try a fatter one and see if I can put 2 of them next to each other and make a bigger one, but I haven't tried that yet. Okay, that was everything I wanted to talk about. Are there any questions on any of it or comments? Do you have insights to tell me? I tried to make the hair stick length to where it's about 5 inches from here to here, at least 5 inches from there to there, and then whatever the top is. If I get any bigger than that, I have trouble turning finials without breaking them. So that's about as long as I get. When I turn them, I generally put them this way on the lathe, and then I have the tailstock up here, and I have a little bit of sacrificial part here, and then I do the point and take it all the way down, and then I sand it and put my finish on it, and then I have a rubber chucky that I put on it to hold this end, and then I finish the rest of it. And I leave it it attached here till the very last minute so I can do my decoration. I've done some of them with carvers, the little foot control carver, and I've carved some of them, put holes in them, and I've put, I guess I put turquoise in. I got one that was a black ebony. It was a beautiful dark ebony, and I cut rings in it, and I filled it with crushed mother of pearl and finished that, and it was real pretty, and it sold real easy. So it really doesn't take that long. It just takes skill turning finials, which I need work on.
What'd you get for?
That one I got $30 for. 30 for the ebony and mother of pearl. Usually I sell them for about 12 or 15. It depends. If it's got something, you know, if I put a lot of turquoise or something in it and it's real, I may charge more for it. Again, a lot of these I make out of leftovers from him, so I don't have to buy the wood. I'm ahead on that. This was one, I bought a big piece. This was olive wood, and I bought a big square, and Jim cut it into 4 pieces for me so I could get 4 of them out of it. I think olive wood is my new favorite. I'm really enjoying turning that. Okay, so now actually I have something to turn. I'll warn you ahead of time, I'm better at talking than turning. Oh, here. These are the notes if you want. They can go around too. I don't normally turn between centers. I'm trying to learn, because everybody tells me, oh, you need to do that. That's the in thing to do. So I'm trying. If you don't want to turn between centers, I highly recommend this mandrel. And hopefully, if you've made many pens, you guys have this one, right? Anybody that doesn't have one of these?
No.
I don't think so. I got it at Woodcraft, but it's got this nut right here, and you can extend this to whatever length you want, up to about that much, so it'll still be anchored. So if you have something short, like I'm doing here, that you want to turn on a mandrel, you just put it to the length that you want, and then tighten it down, and you only have to use that much. So you're not putting in all the spacers and having it wobble on you when it doesn't need to. And this is a heavier metal than what the less expensive ones are that are the fixed length. This is a heavier duty one. It doesn't bend very easy. Do you have a question?
You said Woodcraft on that?
Woodcraft has this. You can get them on the catalogs from other places too. They're more expensive than the others, but then I've had this one for several years now, and I was replacing the other ones fairly often. I've learned to be a little bit gentler on them now, but not a whole lot. I'm still really rough on bushings, too. Not anymore. They're $5.99, $6.99. They're ridiculous now. Somebody, we said about the bushings on the scissors. Actually, the bushings for the scissors, they're not the same as the ones for the seam rippers. It's a different size tube, for one thing. And the bushings for it are actually the bushings for a football pen. I don't think I've ever seen a football pen, but that's what they are. And it's a set of 3 bushings for the pen, so I'm guessing it's a 2-part pen. And you use the center bushing that has the 2 pieces, the 2 ends, and then one of the ends. So the only trick there is to make sure that you get the right end bushing, because they're not the same size. I think there were 3 different things that were mentioned for those, because I was looking online trying to find the scissor bushings, and I was getting nothing. And then finally, I guess I looked for the scissors instead, and then followed the trail to see what went with it, and found football bushings. I said, okay. I would not have guessed that. Okay, this is a light pull. So I'm just going to make it, for sake of time, I'm going to make it pretty simple. I have my funky looking roughing gouge. Ah. This wood is canary wood. And if you read the instructions that come with the kit, it tells you to use a bigger blank than this. But this was what I had, and I like the little bit thinner, so that was fine with me. What?
What are you making?
What am I making? I am making a light pull or fan pull. Jim told me to remember to talk while I'm doing this so everybody doesn't go to sleep, but I can't really think of anything to say right now. So if you have any questions, please holler them out.
I have a comment. You do great CA finishes.
Thank you. Yes. The money clip is made very similar to the key ring. You just have to polish one side, and you don't have to put the little groove. It's a little bit smaller, I think, but I made it with the same chuck thing, the wood piece. I'm working on the end you pull on. The bottom, yes.
What size tube do you use?
This uses a 7mm tube. I should have mentioned that. Most of this stuff, a lot of these things anyway, use the 7mm. This does the Christmas ornaments, the magnifying glass. All those are the 7mm. They all use the 7mm slimline bushings. And this will be the end that I pull on, and then this needs to be the end that the chain goes through. See if I can skid it all over like I did at home. Someday, James Carter, I might learn to do this with a skew. Well, I'm not going to finish it with a rough and gouge. I have a funny shaped rough and gouge. I can't even tell you how I got that shape. It was back when I first started turning and I hadn't a clue how you were supposed to sharpen anything, and it wound up being this shape. It's under the camera. Where's the camera? There we go. Okay.
Looks like you sharpened it more like a traditional continental gouge. It works.
It could be. It works fine. I've got used to it, so it was a cheapy gouge. It's a Buck, I think, yeah. Buck Brothers. It's one of the first ones we ever got. Okay, for sake of time, I'm not being very creative here. I got 3 more things. I don't seriously expect to get through 3 more things. I did come with more than one, if time allows. Only thing I can't do real well with this is get right up to the bushing. Well, that's not true. That's not the only thing I can't do well with this. You can kind of see what this looks like. Okay. I'm gonna stop with that. It's canary wood. Again, it's a leftover piece from one of Jim's bowls. I get all kinds of cool wood from that. This is auburnet. You guys use auburnet? This one I got a long time ago. It's a box that has the 5 sizes all in the pack. I think I actually got this at Woodcraft years ago. I actually kind of like sanding. I know I'm really weird. But to me, making the finish is what makes your product. So I tend to spend a lot of time on my sanding and on my finishes. But for tonight, I'm trying to be in a hurry, so it's out of character for me. So it doesn't feel right. Use the skew to cut the pieces of auburnet to the right length. What kind of lathes do you guys have? Like that? What have you got? You've got Powermatic. You've got Jet. You have one way. What do you have? Powermatic. What have you got, Desbro? Grizzly. And you? Nova. What about you? Ben? Ben? Is that your name? Ben? Okay. Hey, it works. It works. And you? Laguna. We got all kinds here represented. Is that the homemade one? We've got Powermatics at home. We have 2 of the 2020s because we don't have a wide enough shop to put big ones in there, and we need 2 of them. So I tell people we don't share nice, so we each need our own. Okay. That'll work. Okay, for tonight I'm going to use Mylan's friction polish. Y'all, you familiar with that? Everybody's familiar with that? That was the first one I ever used. I can do this a whole lot faster than I can do a CA finish. It goes so quiet, it's up there before I know it. I usually put about 3 coats. And it takes a long time to get that first coat hot. I figure when this is hot enough that I don't want to touch it anymore, it's probably good.
What speed do you use?
1037. Like driving a new quiet vehicle, you know, and it goes 90 miles an hour, but when you think you're still at 40, because it rides so nice till the siren comes on, and you don't even remember where it was, you know. So what's favorite tools for guys out there, you guys? Who's your favorite tool maker?
Thompson.
Thompson?
Makes a great sense. Loaded question there.
Well, there's a lot of different opinions. That's why I was curious what's yours.
I use more easy with
Okay. Can you see that? It's shining up. It's shining up nice. This is a little bit of Renaissance wax. I don't know if that really helps or not, but maybe make it a little bit harder, shinier. Okay. I declare it done. Okay, see if I can get this to fit under here where everybody can see it. And it's got a little bit of a shine to it. It's got some grain in it I didn't even know was there. Some dark spots. So first thing I'm going to do is to push the little knob into the end that you pull on. And if you put it on the wrong end and you look at it, stand back and look at it and wonder why it goes that way, you can take it apart again. You guys have this kind of a pen press? I know there's a couple different kinds.
I found one online that it's got little levers instead of having thread in it. Little levers. It works
Okay.
great.
See?
6 levers.
Yeah.
And then okay, so to put this together, you have to take the end, this little piece here, off of here. Yeah, that's the little chain connector. I'm putting it in that bag so I don't lose it. And then you have to run it through here. It doesn't fit through the little hole if you still have the connector on there. And you need the connector. It is what's going to stop it from coming out of there. So that's why you have to take it off and then put it back on the other side. Okay. So now this part's going to go into this end. And here's where the little, can you see that? It's got a little mouse hole cut in there. So the little mouse hole goes over the chain. Like that. So you can push on it without breaking the chain. And it helps if you have 3 hands when you're doing it.
Put that piece on first, then thread the chain through the other end before you put the bottom on?
Well, one end of the chain is inside of here. And then the other chain end is here. What you can do, and there's 2 sets of instructions that come with this. You can cut this chain short, and then you take the end off and you just drop everything down inside it. But if you don't cut it short, it doesn't fit. So you have to cut it short enough that you can get everything down in there. Press this on and then turn it over and shake it until it comes out the hole and then put your clip back on it. But then you wind up with a short chain. So I do it this way. So that's done. That's a pull. And you'll see it? Okay. Do we have time to do one more? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to do the magnifying glass. This wood is Brazilian cherry. This turns pretty nice. I like the cherry. I keep going to dump it in my air dust collection and it's not there. Dump it on the floor in front of me. If you wonder why I'm doing that, that's why. Okay, so get around this, okay. I always like to roll my ends over first. Seems like every time I don't, I wind up chipping them. So that's why I always try to turn the ends. I don't know if that's everybody's practice or not. Okay, that's probably close enough. I guess I'll make this be the bottom of the handle, and I'll make this be the part that goes into the magnifying glass. I got to figure out what I want it to look like. I'll make a little bit of a bead at the top, maybe. And I'll probably actually get out the tool that was made for that. Okay. If you're thinking I don't seem to have a real good plan, you're right. It's just kind of playing with it. Well, so often they wind up being those unplanned modifications. You would think I've been turning long enough not to get those that much anymore, but apparently that's not true. I bought something else that we can play with. Beading tools. You guys use these? It's not a skew, and I'm not real good at them, so we're going to see what we get here. I think you just put them in and kind of rock them back and forth, and actually it's burning the wood. Okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to get deep enough to actually make the bead, total bead. So we'll stop with that. So I don't want to cut through to the tube. Well, maybe, let's see. And it sings while it's busy. Okay, that's the big one. I'll try the little one. Like I said earlier, I like to make the simple things and just have fun with the shapes. Some shapes come out better than others. Okay. Why not we'll put one more right here. I'm having fun with the tool. Okay, now let's see what I can do to clean up that mess. Okay, I actually like rolling beads. I'm not real good at it. Somebody say something. It's snowing? Okay, that's kind of an unusual nondescript shape. Okay, that's better. A little bit. And now comes the exciting part again, the sanding. Okay, this one actually has bumps I need to get out, so I'll start a little higher on this one. I'll try some 180. Oh, wrong one. There we go. I'm sanding about 650 right now. 648. I'm sorry, speed. No, this is 180 Abernet. Jessica, you can give me a hard time, I don't mind. At least I know you were listening. I love to make these little beads, and then when I try to get around to sanding them and putting the finish on, I wonder, why on earth did I make little beads? That's a good idea. I keep an emery board in the shop, but I don't use it for anything specific, and I can only use it once and then it's shot. I like to sand in the opposite direction on mine to get out the lines. Hopefully get out the lines. Even with Abernet, I wind up getting them.
Out of all of these different things that you make, do you have a preference as to which one's your favorite?
The Christmas ornaments. Those are the most fun. The seam rippers are the most demand. But I enjoy making small things. I always have. And there's another reason I kind of like making these. You know, when you have a display somewhere, either a craft show or just something where you're showing your work, and people come by and say, "Oh, that's beautiful." But what is it? What would I do with it? These, you know, people come by and they say, "Oh, these are so pretty," and there's something they can do with it. So it makes it a lot easier to sell it, and they're a reasonable price range, so more people can buy them than would buy, say, your fancy bowls and stuff. I just have fun with it. You know, I make some really weird shapes. This one's pretty weird, but I've made a lot weirder than that. And sometimes they sell and sometimes they don't, but I have fun doing it. I don't really turn to sell. I honestly don't. I turn because it's fun. And we started selling stuff because the house got full and we had nowhere else to put it. And it was all over the office bookshelves, and it was all over the corner cupboard in the dining room and the dining room hutch, and all over my dining room table. And we thought, yeah, we kid around, you know, say all our friends and relatives, they see us coming up the walk and they turn out the lights and lock the doors, you know, just don't bring me any more wood. So that's why we opened a little Etsy shop, and that was why we did it, not because we wanted to make money. But I get kind of excited when I sell something because I like to think that someone else likes what I made. That makes me feel good. It's not the money, it's the feeling that somebody else likes what you did. And I love the reviews. When they get good reviews on Etsy, I love them. I'm easy to... Yes. We didn't hear that all of July. I was a little disappointed. That's the first month in a long time that we didn't sell anything. The only place I sell anything now much is the Helotes Gallery in Old Town Helotes. Jim and I have some stuff out there. And I put my pens out there. And they sit on a rack right where the desk where the employee sits and where they check out if they buy something. The pens are sitting right there next to it, and they get bought. So that's been kind of fun. If anybody has suggestions to do this better, I am always learning, so please let me know. A lot of you guys have been turning a lot longer than I have. The other thing I try to keep in mind, even when I make my crazy shapes, is it's supposed to be usable. So whatever shape I put in it, it still has to be comfortable in a hand or as a necklace or whatever it's intended for. You have to keep in mind that it still needs to be comfortable for the user. And this has a nice dent in the middle where people can put fingers. You can hold it. Big fingers here, little fingers here, upper finger, so you can get a good grip on it. I like sometimes making really bumpy things, but something that's really bumpy, Rebecca can get away with it, but on the stuff I make, it would not be comfortable. But that'll do. I miss my compressed air. At this point, I would blow it all off. Can you see that pretty good now? Usually if I was at home, I would probably blow this all off real good with the compressed air, and I would clean it with mineral spirits or alcohol. But I didn't bring those, so I'm just going to do it this way. It is cleaning it a little bit, as you can tell. Mm-hmm. If there's any chatoyancy in it, at that point it just pops. Okay. Okay, so we'll put this one together too, and I already showed you pretty much how to do that, so there's no big surprises here. Let's see, that's going to be the top, so this is going to be the bottom of the handle. I don't know who they were. I don't remember. Okay, and this is that little piece that screws onto the retainer ring for the glass. This is where it helps to have 3 hands. That's true. Oh. Here, I should be doing this not with my back to everybody. There you go. All right, all done. That's all I have for tonight. So thank you for your patience, for your questions and your input. And if you guys try some of these, bring them in and let me see them.